All right, guys. This is the first ever episode of Strat Chat coming in here. Swigo Yeti here. We've got a special guest tonight. It's the Senate. Senate's a prolific Twitch streamer, and he's often on right before I am. So that's one of those things. You're usually on around what 8-ish p.m. Eastern-ish.
So I pushed it back recently, and I've been typically starting 9 p.m. Eastern time
9 p.m. Eastern time. Roger that. Roger
for
that.
GACs.
And that's just the Senate. Don't you have Swigo at the end of it or something?
So it's the Senate right now. It's the Senate underscore Swugga.
Yeah.
But I think in like 5 days I can change that. So I might be changing soon. But right now the Senate underscore Swugga.
Yeah, I remember I did recommend I am the Senate, and I think that would be pretty slick.
We will see.
We will see how that all
when
turns
when
out.
it frees up. Yeah.
So just look for some sort of Senate when around 9 o'clock, and that's where you'll find them. So I'm gonna really quickly move to a screen capture of my emulator. I'm gonna show your account really quickly, show what you're working with. We got the Senate coming in from the ANZGC Alliance. He's got 5.9 million, just about there. Looks like he's got about 11 G7, Relic 7s, 45 G13s roughly.
Sounds about right. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty well balanced account. He's got kind of got pretty much everything except for Ray JKL, and that's about it. Looks like he's.
And I'm inching my way to Ray.
Yeah.
I've got I'm pretty close. I mean, a couple more relics to do, but one piece away from Resistance Pilot and Rose, and then I'm at like
really close.
30 out of 100 on both the Resistance boys, and I have them ready to go to Gear 12 at least. I mean, they're going to need to get to Gear 13, but
yeah.
2.5 tunes left. Yeah. Kind of. It's I'm inching my way. I'm getting like dangerously close to whale range.
Yeah. You're gonna get into that spot where it suddenly becomes one of those.
It would be so easy to just do it, you know, but I'm not going to. I'm resisting the urge because it's the Resistance. What are you gonna do?
And that's the problem with Galactic Legends. Like, you get so fucking close, and then you're just leaning into it. Like, I want this over with. God, like.
It takes so long that it gets to the point where you're like, I've already been doing this for 4 months. Why don't I just cut a week off of it? You know?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, oh yeah, we'll do that. But it looks like you're super close on that. Any kind of idea on when you might get JKL, or do you know if you're going to go for Palpatine or Luke after this, or are you going to take a break
Honestly,
and like swing around and get some relics that you missed out on, or?
I haven't thought it through. I have not thought it through. My plan is to get Rey, and then probably get Jedi Knight Luke.
Yeah, that's.
And then kind of take it from there. So I think I'm more inclined to go for Luke than Palpatine, even though, you know, being the Senate, I kind of probably should be going for Palpatine.
Yeah.
Just because I love Mon Mothma and 3PO and Chewbacca, and I would love a legitimate excuse to farm them. I'm kind of leaning more towards Luke because of that, to be honest. Plus the having to get Jedi Knight Luke along the way anyway.
Yeah.
So I feel like that might be the way, but it's going to be a long farm because I don't have, I've got one of them at Gear 13 for the entire Jedi Knight Luke lineup. So I've got a lot of work to do on that.
Yeah, that's actually something I peeked at. Just I wasn't sure where you're going, and I didn't think to check your resistance, and that's why I was like, "Oh shit, you're super close." So
that's where I'm going for. Yeah, everything was announced, and I was already kind of like maybe halfway there, and I was like, I'm sticking it out. That's my whole deal with Swugga is you start a project, you finish the project, and then you move on. So I'm not ditching now for other new toys. I'm gonna finish out what I started and then move on.
Yeah, I kind of got lucky in the sense where I just kind of was after Kylo, I just was so kind of burnt on those long farms that I did a couple of relics that I wanted just to round out, say like my Malevolence fleet and stuff, my secondary fleet, and get some shit like I got my Treya trios, I got them all the G13 and stuff like that, and then moving on from that, I was like, well, now what? And I started not purposely, but getting the guys ready for Jedi Luke, because I already had most of them at like G12 except for the Rebels, obviously. And then all of a sudden the GL Luke comes, and then it's like, okay, well, shit, I got a bunch of that nearly ready now too. Like, I don't know, I've got like 5 or 6 of those relics, and I got 5 of the Jedi Luke ones. I was like, well, here we go. And I'm a humongous rebel slut, so I was like, when I saw Chupio, I was like, oh baby, the Big Bear backpack, and I gotta be a thing. So I I spent a vault like wailing out on his shards, so I actually have him at relic 4 already.
So jealous.
Oh, he's so sick. It's so like, see, the assault battles, he just melts CT2. Just at G12 he melted CT2. It was insane. Like, I finished with like full health and protection on everybody. I was like, what the fuck?
Wow.
Yeah. And that was before I had the relic on C3PO. So now I'm like, okay, maybe now that I've got the relic on him and Big Bear Backpack, I'm like, maybe I can take CT3. Like, that's my thing. So next time that rolls around, I'm gonna roll into CT3 on stream and see if I can't get it.
I believe.
Yeah. So the whole purpose of this, obviously, was we're gonna go and well, I'm looking at your GAC history right now, your most recent ones, and it's more about talking about how you're tackling problems that you face in GAC with your roster, like what teams kind of you like, what catches you out. That's a big one. What's one of those teams that you're kind of always a little bit stuck on, where you're not quite sure what to use, and you don't want to overkill, but you know if you underkill, you could be fucked, and then you're like, ah.
I think it really, there's a lot of variance. I think with Grievous teams. Like recently, I had a loss against one, or it might have been two Grievous teams in the past couple GACs that before I hadn't even worried about whatsoever. And so it's kind of made me second guess what I do against Grievous, to be honest. I mean, I've always done kind of Jedi Knight Revan and just kind of forgotten about it. It just works every time. Finished with, 56, 57, 58, 60 banners or whatever.
Yeah.
But I had a couple losses, and it kind of left me scratching my head like, is this good enough, or what, should I be rethinking my strategy? I'm still kind of committed, and I think the ones that have maybe a little more relics or a little better mods, I go to the Bastille lead, but I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of been my little bit of a trap team that hasn't been like ever, but recently all of a sudden became so.
Yeah, I've noticed that definitely Grievouses have been getting harder for me as I get up as more and more relics, because I have 52 relics now, and so it's one of those where I've noticed now that I'm running into teams that are fully relic. They're all relic 5+. They've all got 6-dot mods, and like, you're looking at those 10,000 damage freaking B1s, and it's all of a sudden it's like it's a very different kettle of fish, because I don't know about you, but I haven't really touched my Jedi Revan mods in quite a long time, except to make him significantly slower to make other teams faster.
That's exactly it, and which is why it's surprising that all of a sudden I've like been running into problems, because he's had hand-me-down mods, the hand-me-down, fourth hand mods.
Yeah. For
the longest time since he was the meta, and then he got taken over and taken over again. So, yeah, I am the same way. So I recently looked. I had Ranger on my stream, and he remodded my account. Essentially, and so he's in my Jedi Revan's in a little better shape. My Yoda should be doing a lot more damage, so it should be. I'm excited for this round, for this Grand Arena coming up right now, because like my mods are actually Ranger approved.
And how's your record this season so far?
Oh, it's not very good, man. I mean, I've this very past round that just finished. I lost the first round, won the second round, and lost the third round. The first round, I full shot, one shot everything. Let me even go back and check and see, because it didn't even go that poorly. It honestly didn't. My opponent was he just had a higher GP.
Yeah. And
just had more to work with. I think he had more relics. I don't know. Because I had, my lowest banner match was 53 or 51. No, that was the problem, I guess, is I had, and this is why it's nice that you've got your Sith Triumvirate relic, because I took mine against, Geos, and Geos usually are fine, but every once in a while
you just get caught out.
You get a Geo squad that has more, and what was I put the wrong tech on Scion, so he wasn't ever taunting at the beginning, and then they ended up killing Traya before she even got a turn, and I was like, well shit.
You're like, this is not going
Nihilist. Well. Nihilist somehow pulled it out, but I finished with 51 banners, so I ended up losing by 13.
Yeah, I was seeing that one right there. You got 1906. It's a pretty respectable score.
Yeah, it's not like bad. It wasn't like I had a big major collapse. The one that was upsetting was the last round. I mean, he put his Rey on defense. I used my Kylo. That's just kind of been my habit. I just use Kylo. I win every time, get 40, 45, 46, 47 banners or whatever. Yeah. And then everything else was kind of fine, but I ended up taking I took gas Yeah, gas, Rex, and fives against the bugs. I can't remember. People were saying it was going to work in stream. I was kind of like, I kind of wanted to use the triumvirate with Watt and then an extra tank.
Yeah.
And that's what ended up beating it the second time. Like I even had him turn meter loaded and everything like it. And so that was, that lost me probably 20 banners.
Yeah. Well, right there, that having that Droideka in there, that's one of those trickier teams that you'll see. So there's two variants of the bugs that I see that are kind of tricky, and the one that really catches me out is the Poggle lead with Droideka, because if they've got a really relic spy, like I guarantee you your Scion's not making it through that match.
They get extra offense and
that extra offense.
Poggle lead is I love Poggle lead actually in 3v3 running him with like B1 and B2.
Oh yeah.
Super fun.
Super nasty, especially with the attacks out of turn healing each other, which just makes it all a lot more fun. So I saw that actually in my GAC maybe last round or last week. No, the week before. And I ended up just trying, because I ran out of teams. The guy set such a strong defense that I ended up having to take my CLS with the Big Bear backpack. But he was only G11 at the time. But I melted the bugs, just melted them. I was like, oh, holy shit. Like, I didn't expect that to work. I was hoping to just get Spy out of there.
Yeah, so this GAC was a different one, because 2 GACs ago I ran into, and I think you were there when it happened, or maybe I ran into a CLS with Chupio team. And I took my Padme full relics. I was like, oh, they're going to be assisting left and right. This will be easy. They'll get a bunch of turns at the beginning. And then it went like, probably 2 minutes before I got a turn, and it was a Gear 8 3-star Zeta Chupio. Yeah. And so I said, okay, well, I guess I'm doing that. So I put my CLS on defense this GAC, whereas before I would have used him on offense. So I kind of switched things up a little bit, and it didn't catch anybody off guard. So I guess everybody knows not to use Padme. So maybe I pull him back on offense, because it's a very, very, very powerful team. Maybe if I can use that against Geos even. That frees me up from making a stupid mistake and wasting gas and 20 banners. Because then I could have used gas solo against these bounty hunters or something that I ended up using the first order leftovers, because I had that was all that I had left. And you got ended up with 52 banners. So I could have gotten another 5 or 6 banners there, and then 30 banners from that, or 20 an extra 20 banners out of that Geos match, and that right there would have put me close to a tie. So
yeah. I think if you would have pulled off especially because it was Django lead, you would have melted that bounty hunters team really fast with General Skywalker.
Yeah, exactly.
So that would be one of those ones where, you would have got 63 banners, because you wouldn't have full protection against those bounty
hunters. You need a Gear
hunters.
12 Bosk too, so it literally it wasn't threatening at all.
It would have been.
He had no tenacity on him, like nothing scary at all. It was that's just the first order is what I had left to use.
What I do against really disgusting bugs actually is usually I'll bring my Night Sisters on offense if they have like Relic 7 Spy, and then I'll use my Night Sisters there, because they're 55 to 57 banners every single time, and
I think that's the new frontier for me, is using my Night Sisters on offense.
So
actually trusting them.
What I did last round. Instead of using them on the bugs, and I remember I used something else in the bugs. I think I actually went with Padme and Watt. Sorry, not Padme and Watt. The trio with Watt, and was like, all right, I guess if Spy one-shot Scion, he one-shot Scion, because he had a Relic 7 Spy. I took my Night Sisters out as Grievous because of the way he left his defense. I couldn't use my Jedi Revan there, and he left it with BB-8, and I know the GG8 team really fucks with the Jedi Knight Revan lead. Like, it's much better to Bastila lead that one, and I don't have Bastila lead Zeta, so it becomes like this thing where I'm like, okay, what do I do here? And it was,
you have to adapt.
Yeah, and he had all all of those Sept-droids were relic, but I was like, there's no Droideka, which means I should be able to Night Sister this. Should be being the keyword.
Hoping for the best.
Yeah, exactly, because Night Sisters can go so wrong there, but managed to pull that one off, and it was a bit dodgy at times. It got down to just Daka and Zombie more times than I would have liked, but it was good exciting fight.
Those that's the thing with Night Sisters. I don't trust them. I have a Relic 5 Daka with over 100k health. and I think a Relic 2 Asajj or something with you know decent mods, like not really good mods. But the thing is, the way that the mechanics work, you really don't have to worry about the rest of them because they really do just keep getting revived.
Yeah. So you know what the funny thing is like I'm hearing you talk about your Night Sisters team, and I'm like, well, that probably would have solved your problem with that General Grievous team. As long as there's no Watt there, Night Sisters are really a good go. The only way it can go wrong with Droideka in the team is when Droideka get like big hits Daka right after a crawl. So if Grievous crawls and she gets stunned, and then Droideka pops her, that's it, game over. It's like
Yeah, but
kill what you
that's
can.
yeah, the likelihood of that is not super high, right?
Yeah, so I use it every single Territory Wars. I use my Night Sisters against Grievous team, literally every single Territory Wars. And I use it in GIC. I use it less because I usually have other counters that are better. Like I'll a lot of times, you know, the way people set defenses, at least in where I'm at in Division 2 and in Division 3 and Division 4 and stuff that I've been finding, is that you're always going to find their bugs. You're always going to find their Grievous. It's just always there 100% of the time. And so they might not set anything else because, you know, obviously when you get into your 5 mil, 6 mil GP range, they're going to have a lot better defensive teams, you know, more relics on their defense and such. And so as often they don't set anything else besides that. You got some crap, so you can like roll your General Skywalker at it and, you know, take your 56, 55 banners or whatever and just get the team down in one, and then work on the rest, like making up the banners elsewhere, you know, which isn't so much an option, I guess, when you get up to where you're at, like roughly where you're going to see better teams on defense in general.
Yeah, I think the other thing is that I need to do or re-examine is just my use of my own bugs.
Yeah.
Because my bugs are so bad to the point where people can literally just take like Traya and Scion alone. They don't even need anybody else.
So yeah,
so that's just a 62 ban. I mean, that's 62 banners. I go back, literally everybody gets 62 banners against it. So it's just waste.
Yeah.
It's just a waste, you know. That's
one of the things that one of those other teams that you see a lot on defense are Newt teams, and even bad bugs can really shred Newt. So that's something maybe you can think about there in that sense. Or I don't like him against bounty hunters at all. I've seen that go really poorly. You know, I'm just trying to think on the lower end teams of the stuff you're gonna see. I would say, yeah, take him against their, you know, if they're prone to setting Newt, that would be a good team to attack with bugs. You can attack mediocre Night Sisters depending on the level of your bugs, because mediocre Night Sisters get caught up on the taunt a little bit too much, and then you can kind of get through them.
Yeah, I think really what I need to do is just not use them, honestly. I mean, because the option is to relic, GBA, and spy.
Yeah.
Or just, you know, leave them at the bottom of the barrel. And so right now that's kind of where they are. I mean, they're the team where you do have to have a, you know, the right counter for them, but everybody that I'm facing is going to have the counter for it, and they're not going to need that counter for anything else. So
yeah,
it's very much a slam dunk for them on my defense pretty much every time.
Yeah.
Unless they're really bad, but
I was gonna say without the relics on spy, specifically spy, I think is the game changer relic for that team. Without the relic on spy, yeah, they're kind of just fodder.
Yeah, it's too easy.
Yeah.
You know, no matter what they end up using, like it's a guaranteed win. It's not a trap team.
Well, yeah, like it used to be. Yeah, yeah, it used to be when people really were neglecting their Treyas and stuff like that, and they had like speed mods on her and maybe not too much health and protection, and you know, like Scion was modded for whatever, you know, like 'cause it was one of those teams it's a good team that works on kind of everything, but you always overkilled shit with it. You know, you roll the trio in against, like, I don't know, they're bounty hunters or they're Ewoks or something like that. That, you know, all you need to do is have a Gear 12 trio and you're fine. You know, and then, you know, now it's one of those ones where, you know, you'll catch people sometimes that just have like insane Sith trio, and then if you don't have great bugs, and they're just like, well, here's 2 characters, thanks.
Yeah, it's too easy.
Yeah. Well, that's one of those ones, man. Try to see. I see a lot of you do a lot of undersized battles. It seems like, which is good. Any in particular you really like getting at? Like in the usual comps that you're seeing, like any teams that you feel very, very confident taking undersized teams on, in the general, like the way you normally attack a defense?
So there's three like slam dunk solo teams that I do. The first one is OG Kylo against Karth teams. Every time that works.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't matter because especially when they have Canderous.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he just
dots,
dishes out dots and then there's just no way to catch up. Especially because I've got Relic 7 Kylo because I have Supreme Leader. So
oh yeah.
that's a definite slam dunk. The second one is Gas against First Order without Red Trooper. I've only ever failed one time, and it was the one time they had Red Sith Trooper.
Yeah, I think you told me that.
It's a little too much damage on that, but other than that, it's a guaranteed 63 banners.
I think you were actually in my stream. We were doing 3v3, and you told me to solo a crew team, and I gave it a shot, and it was just like over.
Yeah, they attack like 3 times, and he counters, and then by the time they're done with their first little barrage or whatever, and he's countered, somebody's dead.
Yeah, or all of
usually
them.
Crew. Yeah, or all of them. Yeah, it's like you don't even have to do any work. You just kind of sit there and like let him go to town on him, and he just goes to town right back harder.
Yeah, basically.
And then the third one is if possible is Supreme Leader against Grievous.
Yeah,
that's a guaranteed solo win.
Yeah.
Assuming that you don't need to use Supreme Leader, for anything else. And typically, I don't know. I need a little more. I need a couple more relics, I think, to make my Vader counter really perfect for Rey. And there's certain compositions that just doesn't work against.
Yeah.
And so I just haven't really been doing it. I've been using Vader with Palpatine on other compositions. Like I've been using it against Night Sisters. It works like stupid well against Night Sisters.
Oh yeah. I haven't tried since MM. Because I remember I have like a bad flashback to where Night Sisters, I couldn't get the TM train going fast enough. Night Sisters banged out my Empire, so I was like, I'll never do that again.
Yeah, so try it again if you can. Try it again because Vader, especially if you've got him relicked and stuff.
Yeah, I've relicked his Vader.
At least the ones I've been facing, even the relic ones, like he just does so much damage on his basic even.
Yeah.
That by the time he's done with it, like there's probably 2 of them are dead because usually you don't run into, at least I don't run into full relic Night Sister teams.
Yeah.
And so usually it's maybe Daka and maybe Asajj or Talzin or something like, but usually it's not a full lineup of relics.
Yeah.
And whichever ones are gear 12, pretty much Vader is going to kill them with his basic when he's in Merciless Massacre as long as you have decent offense on him.
Oh yeah.
And it pretty much ends before anything gets going. And so yeah, that's a fun one. You could probably underman it too.
Yeah.
If you wanted to, you could probably just do Palpatine, Vader, and Thrawn, and that honestly that probably would be good enough. I mean, you could bring in I brought in Watt.
Yeah.
I brought in Watt and Nihilus one time just because I had them left over. Because usually you kind of save Night Sisters for last because they're not, you kind of can use certain different things against them anyway.
Yeah, yeah. One of the things I noticed in your GAC history was that you have a Wampa, and here's the funny one. It's like when you get a tank that has high protection, you can use Wampa with Watt, and you can bang out Night Sisters by putting the weapons tech on Wampa and letting him do his thing. That's actually a really solid comp. So as you get closer to JKL and you start getting him closer to Relic, I mean that can suddenly become quite the little Night Sister counter, especially.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Oh, yeah.
I can't use it right now because
he's just G12 at the moment, but
yeah, my Wampa, I tried him against a team of Ewoks.
Yeah,
and I failed, and it was miserable, and I kind of knew it was gonna fail, but I just wanted to do it anyway.
I was there for that one, and I remember you were like, "This isn't gonna work, but whatever, we're gonna do it."
We're just gonna try it out, yeah, and it failed. So I need to get my Wampa up to snuff. I think I'd probably need a Zeta or 2 on him.
Yeah,
at least
the
one.
stacking offense one, I think is the Zeta to go on that one.
Yeah, so I still need to do some work on my Wampa, but once again, it's just I'll get to it in a little bit. That's my next project. I think is going to be JKL.
Yeah.
Once I finish Rey, and it'll start sooner than later because I'll be done with the gear in a little bit, and then it'll just be farming a couple more relics so I can actually do the event. But then once I'm kind of on the tail end of that, I can start farming his gear, and so.
Well, not only that. I mean, you're going to have the time when you're getting your tickets and stuff where you can just start hoarding all the gear that you're getting in from your dailies and from Shard Shop and that kind of thing, and get yourself ready to start moving on those characters like that.
Yeah, it'll be nice because Wampa is going to be nice to have relic. CLS is going to be super nice to have relic.
I love that
You
team
know,
so
my
much.
rebels just need a little love.
Yeah, that was one of those ones. I mean, it seemed like a dumb idea back in the day, but when I first started, I started right at the tail end of JKR basically. So I got Jedi Revan, and you know I found Reddit and YouTube and stuff like that. So I aimed it at JKR at like level 30. You know, like I already started being like, okay, so Jedi, I got to go Jedi, and then started doing it that way. You know, that was my focus, getting like the Jolie shards and the Bastila shards and all that stuff, so I could get him quickly. And I got him like a couple of days after I got level 85. And afterwards, you know, Darth Revan dropped, and I just was like, I've literally spent my entire time playing this game farming Phoenix and then Jedi Revan. Like, I want, you know, like I was like, I want CLS. And so I went for CLS and I got him, got Chewie, got Han, like got them up, and I totally skipped Sith Empire. So like I'm super late to the Sith Empire party just because I was like, I want CLS. And, you know, I went for Ewoks early so I could get C-3PO because I wanted the Tesla team, you know.
Well, it worked out. I mean, that's been the thing with this game as it's progressed, is that a lot of things that didn't seem like good ideas at the time have suddenly become great ideas. So
Yeah. Like there was somebody who's in comes into some another streamer's stream from time to time, and I remember she was just like a big fan of First Order. So before they even announced SLKR or whatever, like, you know, she already had all the First Order at like G12 plus 5, you know, just because she liked First Order. So she had like less than 3 mil GP when SLKR dropped, and she was like, well, I'm ready.
yeah, I'm jealous of those people. I'm like, I'm kind of a, you know, fluffer. Like I have a lot of tunes, you know, at reasonable gear levels, and most of them at 7 stars, at least barring all the new, you know, like Mandalorian marquee
Yeah.
characters and like Sith Marauder and stuff like that I just never got around to. But other than that, I am, I guess, pretty much in a position where if something does come out, I'm usually like fairly close to it.
On
At least
stars,
from a
yeah.
starring perspective, it's just a matter of gear now. It used to be, you know, I mean, I don't know. I guess you didn't. You said you started when Jedi Knight Revan started, so you wouldn't know. But when CLS came out, the big scandal was that Old Ben was required, and you had to have him at 7 stars and like gear 7, and that was just like people thought that was too much. That was offensive, that they would require a character that was so bad, and you know,
Yeah.
at gear 7, and he's like on Cantina like level 2 or something. So it's like a very fast farm relative to the other ones we have to do now, and it's like 14 of them, and you have to take him to relic, you know, 7 or relic 5 or relic 6 or 4 or whatever it is nowadays.
I'd love to hear
So,
what those people think of Relic 5 Rose.
yeah, exactly. It's just very funny how the game has progressed, and how the things that we have become okay with has slowly just inched its way towards ridiculousness more and more.
Yeah. It's, I mean, it's super funny when you're looking at it. You know, we were talking about the requirements. Again, it's been nonstop talk about the requirements since they dropped GL Luke and EEP's or SEE's requirements and stuff. But it's just like everybody's kind of bitching about the Relic 7 Sidious and stuff about how bad he is. And I'm like, there's still a marquee missing. I bet you that marquee is like all Sith under me do like an extra bajillion damage or something like that. And it'll be like sort of like Mon Mothma, except it's all about just nuking the other team.
Yeah, I think that's a very safe assumption, because I mean, if you're thinking about it, for them, they're adding. It's kind of been their strategy recently, is to add a new character that buffs existing characters that are trash, rather than actually putting in the work and reworking trash characters.
Exactly.
Because it's less work for them. So it's a very safe assumption that like they're probably, at least, I mean, maybe they'll do like a little touch up, but they can make Sidious good without actually doing anything to Sidious, just because of the way that they've been kind of doing those reworks and stuff.
Oh yeah. Like I was just thinking about it, and I was like, I could see it now. Like they're gonna drop a marquee. It's gonna be like Snoke, you know, after all this time. And Snoke's just, what's he gonna do? Is he's gonna be like Mon Mothma? He's a non-offensive character that just makes the other Sith in his party do crazy shit. And it makes sense because it fits into the lore of the character, like the way he was in the sequels, right? And so I'm just like, this makes so much sense. It almost makes too much sense for CG to do it, and they'll pick something else. But you know, My original thought was they'd do something that pumps up troopers, and I was like, well, Piet with the Vader synergy, maybe that's not it. Maybe it'll be Scout Trooper, and then, of course, now you see your brother fucking destroying, Darth Revan teams with troopers and Piet or whatever. Or was it Arnold maybe?
Yeah, it was Arnold doing
it. Yeah, it's like boom, team's dead, and you're just like, god damn, like
just erasing him. Yeah,
yeah. It's like I was like, I wanted the character because I thought he looked pretty disgusting kit wise, but now I like, yeah, that's worth getting.
Yeah, that's the good thing is the new characters they're adding as requirements for the new Galactic Legends are all like there's evidence that they are worth getting.
Yeah, I don't think
which makes it a little easier to swallow the other trash ones.
Yeah, exactly. Like which ones aren't excellent? Like what's the worst of all these new marquees that are required for Galactic Legends? I don't even know. Maybe
They're all.
Yeah, Resistance Hero Poe maybe, but it's not because he's bad. It's just because the other ones are so fucking good. Like that's the only one I can think of.
His only problem is that Rey has synergy with everybody in the game.
Yeah, literally every light side character has synergy with Rey.
Yeah, which is a a problem with Rey, and I hope that when they're putting together these kits that they're making these. I don't know if they need to make new factions or what they're going to do, but I am worried that that it's going to be too generic and too like welcoming to every past meta that has existed.
Yeah.
Because Kylo, Supreme Leader, is, in my opinion, he's better, I think, but he's also a lot more balanced because pretty much you run him exclusively with First Order for the most part. Rey, you throw in Gas, you throw in JKR, you throw in Hoda, you throw in
JKL,
Malik, you throw in JKL, you throw in literally like all of the good characters from the past, 3 years of the game, and that's just stupid, man. It's just stupid.
Well, that was one of the things that I was just kind of scratching my head about because people were asking me, like when I was finishing up Kylo, am I going to go for Rey and stuff? I'm like, nah, you know what? They're going to have. I mean, obviously these new GLs came faster, but I kept saying, I'm like, by December, we're probably going to be seeing some new GLs. And I'm just going to wait and get a couple of relics around here, and then we'll see what drops. Because, I'm only at I'm just about to hit Division 1. So I'm literally like 6K below Division 1. So I'm like 4.494 or something. So I was just like, man, I don't know if I just start going for Rey now, I'm never going to be like, it's going to take me, how it took me 3 months and change, 4 months to get Kylo. It's like, it's going to take the same to get Rey for me. Well, longer actually. Cause I would have to I've got 1 shard of Rose, 1 shard, like legitimately.
Yikes.
I was like, I don't think that's ever happening.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it's just funny how that all goes out. Anyway, yeah. So, kind of swinging it back around on the topic a little bit. Was there anything that you've had you saw in your GAC history that opponents have done to you that's made you going like, oh shit, that works?
I think it's a lot of undermanning.
Yeah.
It's not like maybe a crazy team, but a lot of times maybe I would take CLS and I'd use old Ben as a 5th, and they just don't use the 5th.
Yeah.
I think it's easy to just go in with the full team and forget about it because it's going to work.
Oh yeah.
But when you are going up against somebody that's competitive, you really got to analyze, okay, can I go without this tune or can I go without them? Because chances are a lot of times you can. I mean, not always, but that's been the thing that a lot of times I found the people that beat me, I'll have, several times it's happened recently, especially partially probably due to the fact that my mods needed to be worked on, but also partially because, I'll full clear them, one shot everything, and they'll do the same thing, but they'll get an extra 10 banners or something. And I think a lot of that comes down to not even just using different counters, but just being more frugal with, or maybe not frugal is the right word, but
just being a bit more efficient.
Being more efficient and realizing when you can cut something out and when you don't need something. So
I just was looking at because one of your opponents undermanned quite a lot when I had a quick glance at your GAC history, the Dimitri guy that you lost to at the end of last week, and you were talking about your CLS. And actually, did you see what he used to clear your CLS?
No, I did not. Let's see.
Oh baby, you're gonna like what you see.
Oh, he used gas.
He used gas, and he tried to underman it, and he lost the other guys, so he had to bring it down to just gas to do it. So 55 banners. That's actually
maybe
solid.
That is worth putting down then.
Yeah.
Let's see what the other guys did too. I guess. Well, BK Randy, this Poor guy.
He had a bit of
He
a
just
hard
gave
day at
up.
the office.
Yeah, he used his Darth Revan though. I mean, he used
Yeah.
his Darth Revan finish with 53. So yeah, and then let's see
Like,
what the
yeah, I'm starting to go, shit.
baseball.
I wonder what mine can do on defense.
Well, Spaceball used
His, it's
CLS with
JKL.
JKL. So yeah, I mean,
Wow.
apparently, and if he's got JKL, then he's got all of that. That's a full relic team, and he got
Oh yeah.
59. But that was not the best team he was facing. I mean, a Gear 12, Gear 12, Gear 13, Gear 12,
And
Gear
7
10
or 10, yeah.
So yeah, or maybe I don't even know if it was 10. I think it was 9 at the time. It's Gear 10 now, I think. So yeah, that might be a team that I keep sticking on defense, which is a shame because it's probably got to be a lot of fun to use on offense too.
It's so fun. It's one of those, I thought about it a couple of times last round where I'm like, because I had him at G12 and he was no longer stealing guard and he had the Zeta and I'm like, should I? I was like, I already know what's going to happen. They're going to throw their Padme at it and he's just going to eat it alive. And I was like, oh, it's so tempting. Like,
yeah, that was the most beautiful like tornado disaster watching my Padme just sit there and take it from that team, dude. It was
when what made me want Chupio so bad is when he dropped. Somebody in my guild shared a video that their Shardmate took. They had dropped down in the arena because they didn't like play for a week or something like that. And they're climbing up, and they saw the CLS with like a 3-star G7 Big Bear backpack, and it wasn't even a full relic. It was like Relic 7 CLS, but it was like, G12 plus 5 Han, G12 plus 5 Chewie, that kind of thing. And so he just rolled his Padme in there, just thinking, oh, I'll just roll over it with Padme, see what this can do. And he got completely deleted, and he had full Relic 5 on his Padme team, just done. And I'm just sitting there,
it's crazy.
Oh my god! I was like, that was like G7. Like, that's insane.
Yeah, I think Padme might be another team, honestly, that I consider swapping out for something and putting it on defense, because Padme teams they will steal your banners, and usually, like every time that I use my Padme on offense, at least most of the time, I'm not coming out with full banners.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I usually get like 56 to 59-ish with Padme, depending on what I'm taking it against.
There's just no protection recovery is the thing.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the biggest problem with Padme on defense, though, is if you don't leave C-3PO there with them, then you can get nested. Like, and that's a problem. They've got like a Relic 7 nest, Relic 5. I've even done it with Relic 4 on a mostly Relic team. It's another one that I tried in Territory Wars a few times and it worked. So I'm like, okay, so if they have these kind of mods, I can just keep rolling it there.
Yeah, that's another team that I used that has worked very well is that my Palpatine Vader team against Padme.
Yeah.
It's very good against Padme. And so I'm not scared of Padme anymore like I used to be, because I can use that Vader team against it. Before, it's like Darth Revan, and you never know when the courage is going to line up and they're going to erase you.
Yeah.
Or something. It's kind of risky. Or you can do a mirror match, but once again, it's just a very dicey game. But the Palpatine, like I've done multiple, full Relic Padme teams, and they don't even get going.
With the Palpatine lineup that you're running there, what's the full comp that you're using?
So I'll do it. It's just Palpatine, Vader, Thrawn, and then I'll bring Watt in.
Okay.
Which probably, honestly, is not even a good idea. Just because he assists.
Yeah. It's gonna give.
And when he's assisting, they're getting extra protection. So I wouldn't even bring in Watt. I mean, I've done it before, and it lined up one time. It was pretty close to like just not working, and then his C-3PO just got really horny for my Watt, and so he confused my Watt, so he stopped assisting. so it worked out because I could basic and cleanse, but he stopped assisting, so there was none of that extra protection going on. So if they've got C-3PO, maybe you can get away with it, but I would probably do without Watt. I was just thinking extra offense on Vader, it'll balance out, whatever.
Yeah.
But the thing is, there's so many Jedi. You got Jedi Knight Anakin, you got Ahsoka, and General Kenobi, and usually maybe sometimes another one. Maybe like sometimes Barris, you get like I've run against Barris, yeah. And so with all the Jedi, he's doing a lot of extra damage, but you just got to be careful of the assists on Watt. So I'll bring in another Sith, or you could probably bring in like a Death Trooper, if you got him like even gear 12 or something. Because the thing is, there literally is just so much turn meter going on.
Yeah.
That it just works.
I was just thinking it's like, because there's also the kind of the right amount of debuffs in that team without the extra Empire guys. So whereas if Padme gets her spin, it's not going to be an absolute disaster.
Yeah, so so for example, this most recent GAC, or 2 GACs ago, or 3, I guess it was 3 ago. The first round I got completely shreked by this guy. But I used my Darth Revan, finished with 54 banners against his Padme.
Yeah.
And then the next round was a joke. We did like stupid defenses just to get feats, which was kind of cool, but just interesting for a change. But then the third round, I used my Palpatine, finished with 59, and I saved Darth Revan. So this Palpatine team isn't, I'm maybe not going to use Palpatine against like a Grievous or against a Darth Revan team or anything like that, but Padme, it really works. So I think that's going to be like my go-to counter for Padme nowadays, regardless if it's C-3PO or not. And so I'm probably going to pull Watt off of that, and then I can use Watt with like the Triumvirate against bugs or something to get.
Yeah. If you're rolling G12 plus 5, I highly recommend never running against bugs without Watt, just because that was the only time I've not had a whoopsie when my trio was G12 was when Watt was there. Like I've just had it in territory wars and stuff where I've used Watt like with my CLS to kill a General Skywalker or something, and the next thing I know there's bugs, and I'm like, okay, they're all G12. I've checked the mods aren't great. My trio's gonna work here, and then all of a sudden it's like, and there goes Scion, all right. Sometimes
it just goes really south. But yeah, if you get Watt in there, it's a lot more reliable. So yeah, I think that's going to be my strategy. So I'm not sure who exactly the 5th is going to be, if it's Death Trooper and somebody else like with debuffs like Tarkin or something.
Yeah.
I mean, I only have a gear 11 Tarkin, but like I don't even worry about it because they really just don't get started with Vader. I mean, it might be good to have another tank in there.
I was gonna say like not Sith Empire Trooper, but Shore Trooper would be nice there because no counters,
yeah, Shore Trooper,
and he's got the heal and puts the Create a Void up, which would be
nice.
The
buffs, everything that he does is very very beneficial for that team. Just making it a full Empire team.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I think that's going to be my go-to. That a lot of people might not use. I mean, maybe people are using their Vader against Rays and they're happy.
Yeah.
But I don't trust mine, so I use it against Padme.
Do you know I actually had an opponent last week that you brought up you weren't going to use Palp or whatever against Grievous, but he actually uses a basic G12 Empire team against full Relic Grievous with Watt, whatever, it doesn't matter. And he rolls out 60 banners every time. I'm looking up this guy's name so I can tell you about it because I was really impressed. I believe it's this guy. Let me just get his GAC up really quickly so I can double check this. But this is quite the team, and he didn't have amazing mods, but he used Basilisk Fallen, I remember, and IPD and fuck. Okay, 1 second. Let me. Studio.gg, come on. There it is. All right, I think this is the guy. No, he's Padme there. No, that's not the guy. That's not the one. No, that's not. This isn't the guy. This is the wrong guy. Wrong guy. My bad. Let me have a look. See here. Is it this guy? No, I don't think so. Sorry, I'm like. It just you said it and it just went to my head and I was like, oh fuck, that's right.
See, because that would be nice because like the JKR team is so good on offense.
Yeah.
Because you just have all the protection, everything is it's so easy to get max banners. And you can underman a lot of things. You can underman all those Newton S teams. Like you can pretty much do whatever you want with Jedi Knight Revan on all those other teams. And so if you can pull him off and use Palpatine or something somewhere else, then it really frees you up.
Yeah. Okay, no, it is this guy. Okay, it was the guy I was thinking of. Okay, so his team, he uses Palpatine, Bastila, Fallen with Nihilus, Thrawn, and IPD. And going through his history, I remember I was pretty stunned by it. He gets 60 banners every time. It's just
wow.
60 banners, 60 banners, 60 banners. I put mine with BB-8 when he was against me, so I could maybe get it in front of him, and try to wipe out the team. And it didn't work. His Thrawn is super fast. He gets his Thrawn going, and then he just controls that team super easily. And it's kind of nuts because he'll do it against the Watt variant, and he'll do it against. I saw it in his GAC history. He does it against the Watt variant, and against me, he did it against the GG8. So, I was really impressed. And I'm looking at his profile right now. So I'm just gonna have a peek at those mods and just see, because he doesn't have Slacker or anything. So he doesn't have he's got G12 on Emperor Palpatine. So Palpatine's not.
So it's just a run-of-the-mill average.
Bang average Palpatine.
Poor man's Palpatine.
I would go ahead and say that I wouldn't mod him this way because he doesn't really have a lot of added potency even. He's got plus 10 extra potency on his Palpatine. I'm like, wait, what? And then looking at his Bastila Shan, I remember her being slow. She's not super slow, but she's only at 280. But, I mean, bang average mod, I wouldn't be blown away by that. And his Thrawn was quite fast, though, if I remember right. And his Thrawn, I think, was Relic. There it is. Thrawn's Relic, but just flat G13. He's got 140 speed set on his Thrawn, so his Thrawn's at 310. And then he's got 110,000 health protection on his Thrawn. But, yeah. That is...
That's good to know. I'll keep that in mind. We'll see what I run into.
His IPD does have the Zeta, and it's only G11. Only 100 speed on his IPD, so it's 230 speed. I mean, that is one-shot material for Grievous if it gets going, but this guy keeps rolling that Grievous and keeps rolling that counter and working.
Jeez, yeah.
I remember I kept going. This guy was one of the ones where I was actually, confused about what I should do on defense because he's missing some key teams, but the stuff that should catch him out based on, because he doesn't have Traya, he doesn't have a good Traya, it's not developed, it's like G11 or something. So it's one of those where we're going down, I'm like, oh yeah, so I was I put my bugs, and he has a counter for bugs. I can't remember what he uses, but he uses something funky, and he but the Grievous thing, I was like, how do I make him I don't want him to get 60 banners against Grievous. That's, it's a good team. He shouldn't be getting 60 banners against him. This is also the guy that set the Poggle lead with his bugs. So
okay.
Yeah, he's a pretty good player. Definitely free to play. Definitely long-term player. He did have a lot of really great speed mods at his disposal. It looks like he was working. He has Ray, but he had only just got her, so no alt or anything like that. But yeah, that team was pretty tasty. Anyway, thanks so much for coming on here, man. It's I was planning to only keep you for 30 minutes. We ended up talking for near 50, so it's one of those.
That's how it goes, man. There's just a lot to talk about.
Yeah, when it comes to GAC, there's always a lot of subjects, and so it's always a lot of fun. Remember, guys, this is the Senate. He's coming on Twitch, and he'll be around starting around 9. So just look at the Senate. The logo that will be on the card for the video will be his logo. You'll be able to see it there on Twitch, and that's how you find him. And thanks for coming on.
That's what I'm talking about.
Really appreciate it. It's first ever guest, first ever time doing this.
Let's do it. Let's do more collabs, man. This is fun.
Yeah, 100%, man. I definitely am. I'm going to be trying to do a lot more collabs going forward. I think it's a lot more fun to have other people to talk to and play off of and stuff. So, I definitely think we should do so in the future.
Let's do it, man. Let's make it happen.
All right, and let me just close out the recording. Thanks so much, YouTube, for watching. It's always been a pleasure. As always, subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed already. If you throw us a like, it's always nice to do that. If you want to give us a shout out, say something in the comments section down below. You can tell us about teams that maybe you had troubles with, or other teams that you've used that are kind of oddball counters that work really consistently against stuff you see often. Go ahead and tell us in the comment section down below. We can talk about it there and or on the next video. Anyway, thanks so much, and have a good one, guys.